Hey Shooby Doodlers, how are you doing? Well, I've been working away on the illustrations for Generation Moon, and I've come to this one, and I've done various little versions of this. That's the one, and suddenly I realised that was completely the wrong drawing, so I had to do another one. I did that one, and then I did that one first and refined it to that, and then I've refined it to this, and now I need to sort of turn it into an ink drawing. So I need to choose the right pen. That's looking a little bit blunt. So I've been drawing quite a lot recently. All these pens are starting to get a bit blunt. That's not too bad. What is that? That's a 3, and I think that one is a 2, so I don't want that one. I think this paper is actually quite rough, and it kind of grinds the nibs down a little bit. Maybe I press too hard. That could be a problem. So I'm going to start, I think I'm going to start about there and just start drawing. And what can I tell you? So I'm just sort of working my way through these illustrations, and I know that if I do it so much a day, then I'm going to be well in time to have it all done and finished and ready before I actually launch my Kickstarter. And I feel that's kind of important because Kickstarter is not a please fund my artistic lifestyle kind of thing. It's a Kickstarter, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to kickstart this whole project and just get it kind of started. And so I'm having to concentrate here. So I feel if I'm asking you to kind of get involved, I should have done my bit, and sort of got the thing ready and 1, 2, 3, 4, and put the put my money where my mouth is. At least put my time and energy and effort, where my mouth is, if you follow what I mean. And then I feel I can ask you to come along and back it. So Generation Moon is this whole new trilogy that I'm writing, and it's all kind of based on space and stuff like that. And I've been having these little sort of moments of doubt just recently where I'm thinking, oh my goodness, why am I doing this? Why am I self-publishing this? And I have to keep going back to the reason why. And Generation Moon is a space adventure, but it's based very much on the kind of space race that is going on at the moment. And I don't know if you're aware of it, but I certainly am. I can feel that we're back in a space race, and whereas back in the 60s, I was there. I was a child. I was so excited by the Apollo space mission, and that kind of fever has gripped me again with this, and I can sort of feel this whole kind of space race thing starting again. Except this time it's not America and Russia. Everyone's involved. There's Japan and China, and now we've got sort of the European Space Agency, and then we've got all the independents. We've got SpaceX and all that lot, Blue Origin, and a whole lot of others who are now sort of wanting to get in on it, and space is becoming really, really serious. And when I first sort of was inspired to write this story, then I thought, get a publisher. I went through the usual kind of thoughts and talked to a couple of publishers, and I thought, this is not going to get published in time. And they were sort of talking about, we can maybe get it out sort of maybe late 2024 or something like that. I thought, what? It needs to come out now. And I've been talking about marketing a lot the past couple of videos, and I think that is sort of part of the whole thing is that Shakespeare said about there is a time and tide in the affairs of man when taken at the flood, etc., etc. Lead on to fortune and something or other. But some projects have a time and a rising tide, and if you miss it, you get stuck on the rocks. And that's kind of what I feel, and I really need to sort of get this moving. And I'm, you know, hooked up to all sorts of websites and people I'm following on Instagram and Twitter and places, and you know, this whole space thing is just moving rapidly at the moment. We just had a Falcon 9 launch this week, launching a load of satellites for the US Space Force. Secret satellites, I don't know what they were about. And so, you know, things are happening, and the Starship, the SpaceX Starship, is actually kind of on the launch pad for its first proper test. Let me just get this right. You want these two, they're looking up at a screen that they're playing, and the Starship is kind of, you know, where it's really going to be at, I think. And it's a strangely beautiful thing if you haven't seen it. And it's just sitting there waiting. And it looks like something from out of the 1950s. It looks like a proper kind of moon rocket. And I'm just really aware that that is happening, and the publisher's not going to be able to cope with that. And so, you know, I'm seeing this as a complete project, and I want it to be sort of going on at the same time as things are happening in the real world. So that's where I'm at the moment. And so here I am drawing these things. Oh, that just suddenly got brighter, didn't it? I got this little button here which goes up and down. I can do a bit of marketing here. This is a Huion light pad, so I can see what I'm drawing through. Some people think you're cheating because you're tracing, but it's not. I've done the original drawings and I'm just refining, and it's not cheating if that's what you want to do, and it's sort of how you get to draw the picture that you want to do. Huion, I did a video about it, so if you've not got one of these and you want one, then go and have a look at that video, and I'll put it up there somewhere. Now this is going to sort of come in down there like that again, something like that. And what else? And what else? So while I'm sitting there drawing, then I have a lot of time to think, which is sometimes a good thing and sometimes not. But I've been down a complete rabbit hole this week. I've been researching something, and I know yesterday I just got completely hooked into this, which I'm not going to tell you about. But anyway, I just sort of suddenly thought, I need to know, and I'm a kind of a need to know person. And suddenly yesterday I looked at the time, and it was, oh my goodness, look at the time. And normally I go in around about sort of 6 o'clock, just before 6 o'clock, and help Mrs. Rayner just get the last bits of supper, and then I have to get my mum sorted out, my aged mum, and get her supper all sorted out. And then suddenly I looked up and it was 6:10. and I was just completely in this research mode, and everything that I'm going to have this kind of weird paddle here like that. And everything that I'd been thinking about, researching, I was kind of in this other world, complete other world. I don't know if you've ever been there. I was having to sort of find one link. Every time I had one link, that was like a springboard to the next thing. And you think, oh, well, now if I had searched for that. So it went on. I'm just going to turn these big lights on, and then I need to probably turn that down then. Going from one link to another, every now and then I was thinking, oh, that's interesting. In that case, I bet this happened. And this is sort of historical. Well, it's in the sort of 1960s or something like that. Just looking and looking. And then I'd find something. Oh, that's interesting. And then that would put my mind at ease about something that happened, but then that would make me think, oh, but then what about if something else? Oh. And before I knew, I was there in my head in the 1960s in another part of the country, finding stuff out. And And it was just really weird to be brought back to 2023 and find out, oh yeah, it's supper time. I don't know if other people are quite... I suppose it's a power of the imagination thing, isn't it? But this morning I came into work and I thought, right, and I'm sort of really switched on my computer and sort of tapped into Google and was just about to start searching. I thought, no! It's a rabbit hole, and it'll go on and on and on and on forever, and it's not going to go away, this thing that I'm finding out about. So I thought, put it on the back burner and come back to reality. And so that's what I did, and here I am. And it was to the point where I was thinking,
Sorry, I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. It looks like there's an issue with the router and Echo device, so try restarting them.
So I've been thinking, I should be doing another video on YouTube. And then I thought, yeah, but I'll just check this link. I'll just have a look and think, what? And so it's rabbit holes. Rabbit holes, they can take you over. And I'm going to put a little bit of shade in there as well, I think, in the eyes. Eyeballs are not pure white. They're they have light and shade and all sorts in there. So that's a bit heavy, but I'll just swish some water into there and hopefully that will be okay. Like that. And there. I have to think about this. Okay, that'll do. So while I've been drawing today, see, I still keep thinking. While you're drawing, I keep thinking. And it's hats, different hats that you wear. And I think when I'm doing this kind of a project, see, this is the other thing. I keep thinking, why am I doing this? Why? I must be totally mad doing this on my own. And most people would run a mile from doing something like this, but it's just me, and I have to keep reminding myself. I'm not sure, once it's done, I'm not sure I'm going to do something like this quite again, but I have to see how I feel sort of in a year's time, something, when it's all finished. But there are a lot of hats to wear doing something like this. So at the moment I'm illustrator, and doing that job. And while I'm doing this, I'm kind of generally thinking, not thinking about doing drawing videos or anything on YouTube. And so part of me is probably thinking about this whole Generation Moon project, but it isn't really, because I'm now in illustrator mode. And all I'm really thinking about is the illustrations, whereas in fact I should probably be thinking a little bit more about the marketing and sort of doing stuff, but my mind thinks, I can't do that because I've got to finish these illustrations. So I would find it very hard to just put this down and put my marketing hat on and then start doing something. But in a way that is what I'm doing at the moment, because I'm sort of showing you what's up. So this is sort of part of the marketing process, but I'm not actually thinking about the marketing. Maybe I could do this. I'm not contacting people. I'm not sort of setting things up for radio. Does anybody do radio anymore? TV or something like that. Trying to get on a local TV channel or something like that. Just to talk to people and tell them all about this fantastic project that I'm doing. But I'm not thinking about things like that because I'm doing these illustrations, and I kind of feel that's what I need to do until, of course, I fall down a rabbit hole. But I managed to pull myself out. And I think is it an internet thing? Rabbit holes. I'm trying to think if I used to get into rabbit holes before. And I know I've discussed on here and with various viewers about ADHD, and I've not been diagnosed or anything. I don't really like the term diagnosed for ADHD either. It makes it sound like an illness, which it really isn't. I think it's if you do have it, I think you treat it as a blessing. It's it's like a rabbit hole thing. It sounds like ADHD, and I can't even think what it stands for. Deficit, hyperactivity deficit, attention hyperactivity, AD, attention dis something. Anyway, it kind of works opposite to how you might think it would do. You'd think it would be that you're just hopping and buzzing all over the place, but ADHD will actually give you this really intense focus at times, to the point of rabbit holing. Yes. Forgetting about other stuff, just getting down to the research or whatever it is that you're doing, and that is actually a really, really useful thing, and it's a flow kind of thing. I think maybe it's just a flow thing, and you just kind of get a bee in your bonnet, I suppose, and think, I need to know that. I drive Mrs. Rayner mad with it. She said, what? Put that phone down. But I need to know. and so I sort of pick the phone up and start Googling, and she thinks I'm trying to prove her wrong or something. I'm not. I just need to know. And she thinks she thinks I'm trying to prove something against her or something like that, I think. And maybe other people are a bit like that. Think, why are you doing that? Why are you checking? I said, I'm not checking. I just need to know. Is that obsession? Well, I don't know. Anyway, what on earth am I talking about? So, focus. That is the difficult thing. You have to choose your focus. So I think when you go down a rabbit hole, it's like woof, and down you go, down you go. I think it all comes from Alice in Wonderland originally, doesn't it? Sort of just falling down the rabbit hole. There's nothing you can do about it. And so I think you probably, if you're that kind of a person, you probably have to kind of learn. Oh, it's fire brigade or something. You just have to learn to know that feeling when, whoops, I'm teetering on the edge of a rabbit hole. Do I want to go down here? And sort of teach yourself to pull yourself back sometimes, or at least bring out your kind of propeller head and kind of bring yourself back up out of it. So, yeah, and that's the sort of focus thing, and then you have to kind of forget it and refocus back on the thing that is important at the moment. And it's not easy. I don't think everybody's like this, and I know I've been reading various things recently. I've just been finding out about aphantasia this week as well, which is really interesting, where some people can't create images of things in their head. So, I say to some people, if I say to you, I've been doing this week, if I say to you, can you imagine a parrot in the jungle flying across, a nice blue parrot flying across the jungle, lots of nice green trees and some pink butterflies? And most people go, yeah. Well, I don't know if it's most, but most people I come across go, yeah, I can imagine that. And then some people will go, what? No. And I would think that is weird, but they will also think that is weird that anyone else can. So we all think very, very differently, and I think everybody is wired up very, very differently. Some of us are wired up similarly, but I don't think we're all exactly, well, we're not exactly the same, are we? Or else we'd all be kind of clones. But I think some of us are wired up similarly. But when you think about, the way the brain works, and you've got all those sort of constantly building pathways, and it all depends on your experience in life, the way your brain gets put together, and the way your thoughts and ideas get put together. And it's all those little obsessions you have along the way that you have to go and research and find out about. And I was thinking, thinking this week about an idea I came across, which is so obvious. I think, why didn't I come across that before? It's like religions that have said this is what happens, and follow this path exactly, and everything's going to be all right. Trust me, trust me. Put money in the plate every Sunday. And those are dogmas, aren't they? And they're not moving forward, those kind of ideas. They're just stuck in the past. Well, what am I trying to say? So I think some people are happy like that because they don't have to think. They've let somebody else do the thinking for them. But I'm not one of those people. I just have to know. And if someone says, this is how it is, then I'm just immediately suspicious and have to go and check it out. So where are we now? I think we need a little bit of, I think it's going to be too dark before I actually paint that. Let me do that. I need a little bit in his, it's going to be too dark. You probably can hardly see that actually, but I need a little bit and there, a little bit there, and then we need to do CJ's hair, which is going to be quite dark. So this is a pretty weird video, isn't it? So if you've got thoughts on that, if you have, put it all in the box below. If you think I'm the new waffle host, then you can put that down there. I've had a couple of videos where people have tagged me as being the new host for Waffle House, which I've immediately thought, what? And assumed that they were saying I talk too much, like I have been doing in this video. But that's partly what you come to these videos for, isn't it? And so I thought, they're saying I talk too much and I waffle, and then, but they spelt it strange. Anyway, I looked it all up, and no, it is a meme going on at the moment. I'm not sure who it was started it. They said, let's find a weird phrase and everybody go out and just put that on on videos and tweets. It was meant to be TikTok originally, I think. And so I've had a couple where people have put that on my video saying, looks like we found the new host for the Waffle House. So I'm thinking maybe next week on Draw Stuff Real Easy I'm going to do how to draw a Waffle House. That would be quite amusing. And down with the kids. If you're down with the kids, and you can add a waffle thing. Although, of course, the rules of a Waffle House thing is you should only have one person writing it on one video. But apparently that's hundreds of people are doing it on hundreds of different videos, so they're not following the rules. Well done, because that would be dogma. The trouble with making a video while you're doing this is that you can quite often not do the thing that you actually want. And when I finished, I just didn't like her face, so I have painted another one that I'm a bit happier with. And I'm going to stick it over the top. I'll just do... I'm sure there's a better way of doing this with masks and things like that, but I'm not really aware of that. So I'm just going to get rid of that, and then I'm just going to paint with white in the background, and just paint out the hair that is underneath. Yeah, that will do. There we go. And now, seeing this is Mwahaha, I never lose, he boasted. It's just not quite the right expression, is it? I'm going to move those eyes up to there so that he's kind of looking at her. And then I'm thinking I might just try copying his mouth, moving that up to there, so that would be, move that up to there so that she's going, that looks a bit better. No, we want to come back to there, we want to take her mouth. We bring that down to there. T, you see? So that then up here we need to go B, then we can paint white all over there. So now that's got her expression quite different, except now the eyes feel like they're in the wrong place. So I need to get them talking to each other. And this is all, this is all a problem of talking to you. So let's see what happens. Actually, that's just a bit up there. And then we want to get E, duplicate that so that I'm not losing her just in case. And then I'm going to do this S business here. So that we get that shade. I think I might take this shade from over here as well. Just to make sure that kind of works like that. So she's a bit worried about him. I'm not sure those eyes are quite in the right place. I think that one is, and this one isn't. That's the problem. It just needs to come a little bit more over there, I think. And maybe just slightly fractionally larger too. And I'm going to do the same painting thing here. So I take a copy from there and I paint above it. So that we get that sense of texture rather than just a flat area of colour. So that now has a far more dynamic structure to the whole thing, which is kind of the image that I want. Save that, and then when I come back you can see that that's updated itself. And maybe bring that over so it's nicely placed. In the end I decided I'd just do it again. So, well, thanks for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to the Shoo Rayner drawing channel and keep coming back for lots more drawing videos. And make sure that you are signed up for advanced notifications of Generation Moon. Click up there. In the meantime, keep drawing, drawing, drawing. Practice, practice, practice. And I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye-bye.